Many people are online.
Sure, we on record for about 31 online. One second. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining us. We really look forward to engaging with you today. I'd just like to welcome you all to our webinar on personal branding. We are the Advancement and Alumni Relations Office. My name is Zwagele Ngubane, and shortly you'll be receiving a wonderful presentation on from Gita, who's got years and years of experience in this area. And so we're hoping that you're going to basically learn a lot from her. And also, though, the engagement is important. So, right. So if you engage and you participate, then obviously you're able to ask the questions that really matter. And so we're very privileged and honored to have Gita joining us from Recruiters Care. We really appreciate the support. So thank you very much to Gita. I think let's give her a round of applause, please. Oh, okay, let's just check. Can our online colleagues and students hear us? Yes, they're clapping hands. Thank you very much. Special greetings to our online participants or guests. So ladies and gentlemen, with that, let's really enjoy the session. Let's engage, let's participate. We are basically running the series of these workshops and webinars, hybrid, face-to-face, etc. And this is the first time that we're in Pietermaritzburg. Our offices are based in Durban on the ML campus, ML Sultan. So we're very excited to be in PMB, and hopefully we'll be doing more events here at the PMB campus, because I know PMB always says, stepchildren, what, stepchild? No one is a stepchild. So we are here, and we're hoping to continue these kinds of events in PMB as well. And it's wonderful. Ronel was saying actually she wants to move to PMB and get her offices here. So maybe that might just happen. We don't know. But with that, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Let's enjoy. I'd like to hand over to Gita. Will take us through this particular webinar on personal branding. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This one, thank you. Just easier for me not to have to use hands.
Just ask them if you can hear.
Can everybody online hear me if I'm standing here?
Yes.
Okay, fabulous. Thank you. Okay, let's get started. So, just to give you my background, I have spent 100 years before my life in recruitment in financial services. I moved into recruitment just over 16 years ago. So I've got a long-standing career there. I am on the board of our governing body, the industry governing body. I am the twice recipient of the Recruiter of the Year professional, and I hold the highest designation possible in my industry. So I'm hoping that my brand itself maybe will give you some ideas of how to manage and navigate it. So let's do this. Right. First, we're going to test first we're going to talk about some house rules. First of all, this should be fun, right? I don't like to stand and lecture. The more you participate, the more you get out of it. So, and if you have questions, please ask, because that's what we're here for. We're here to learn. And when you ask a question, somebody else is probably thinking it anyway and may be too shy to ask it. So if we get some engagement going, please stop me anytime. I don't mind being stopped. I can very quickly get back on track. So it's rather we talk about it in the moment. Okay, right. Let's test some brand knowledge. Take a card. Right. Shout out if you know the answer. It's like 30 seconds. A ride-hailing app that connects passengers with drivers. 100%. Space travel and electric cars. That's the one. A tech company that develops and sells the most basic fundamental IT infrastructures, software development systems. Every laptop you have. Microsoft, 100%.
Yes, Microsoft.
Good one. A food manufacturing company that sells flakes and pops. That's the
Hello.
one. 100% Kellogg's. Good job. A supermarket chain, the new color of the Springboks. Checkers. That is it. Checkers. Yeah, it's like teal colors. The Springboks wear a checkers outfit, like the 60/60 driver. Yeah. 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 Interesting though, right? I didn't give you much information. And yet you were able to identify every single brand. And why is that? Because they have a brand presence, because they market themselves, because they're out there and they have developed a brand to be recognizable. So if you think about those brands, when I speak about you in IT and accounting, or I speak about you in property rental and finance spaces, is your name top of my mind? Because if it isn't, then that's kind of where you want to be. You want to be top of mind, especially if you are a student and you're competing in a very, very, very challenging market. Right. You have no choice, right? Pick one. Two. Okay. Two. Interesting.
Yeah. Three.
Three. Okay. So the person that was online, they picked three. Tell me why.
I just picked three because there is no brand. I feel like I can pick three.
So you picked anyone. Okay. Why did
Yeah.
you pick two? Because they all look the same. Yeah, they all look exactly the same. So imagine you're in the market now, right? And I am recruiting a bottle of soda. If you were 1, 2, or 3, and I had choice, I didn't have to pick 1, 2, or 3, and you all look the same, and you gave me nothing to work with, why would I pick any of you at all? Not even one of you. Let's do it this way. If I said pick, why is it not showing?
It takes a
Slow. How many is a few seconds? There we go. Okay. If I said now pick 1, 2, or 3, what would you do?
No, I'll pick two.
What is this thing doing? Okay, 2.
Two,
Why
yes.
2?
Coca-Cola brand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Always is Coca-Cola.
I agree with that. 100%. Always Coca-Cola.
But what's surprising, actually they are the same without labels. That's very interesting. I was not aware.
Well, they're technically not identical, but very often they were. But if you went into a Pick and Pay, right, and you stood in front of the fridge and there were those 3 bottles with no branding, or there were these 3 bottles, you would never pick the one without branding because you didn't know what you were going to get. You would have no idea what that was, whether it was good for you, bad for you, more expensive, less expensive. You would always pick the one that you're familiar with or the one that you like the best. So let's go with.
A lot of people online are also saying too, somebody said Coca-Cola is a renowned brand.
Exactly, it's a renowned brand. And it's interesting, Coca-Cola, because it is arguably the best known soft drink brand worldwide. And yet they market. You go into any small town, at any spaza shop, and the name of the spaza shop is Coca-Cola, is a Coca-Cola sign with a star with a name on. So Coca-Cola, being the best sold soft drink worldwide, market and brand themselves, you should be no different. Absolutely no different. Let's go with some of your favorite brands, the brands that you love the most. Which one is your favorite brand? No, at any time. Tell me why Nike.
I just like it.
That's your style, you like it, it works for you, right? Anybody online wanting to give me what they think their best brand is? Somebody else in the audience? One of the gentlemen, what's your favorite brand? Listen, that was late with the hoodie. Pick on you, sorry. Favorite brand? Not those ones, any of your, which is your favorite brand of all time? Starbucks.
Coca-Cola,
Under
Armour.
Coca-Cola. Under Armour, that's you, Renal. I heard you sneak that one in. And we like those brands for good reason. First of all, they were known to you. Second of all, they do something for you. There's some kind of attachment to the brand, whether you think it works for your style, whether it's pricing, whether you like the look of it, whether you think the design is great. There's something about that brand that really does something for you. So, please wait.
Premium quality taste
Magnum.
and Shoprite.
Interesting. Okay, how long does this take to change screens, Reynolds? I'm probably gone feedback. Yes, please. Okay. So let's think about the brands as a philosophy, right? And there is such a thing, whether it's a personal brand or a marketing brand, called marketing philosophy or psychology, sorry. And that is okay, we'll go back here. All right. Who knows who this person is? Can wait 1 second. Who is it?
It's Steve Jobs.
100% it's Steve Jobs. And do you think Steve Jobs is known for one thing or for more than one thing? What do you associate him with? Apple.
The
time.
creation of Apple.
100% creation of Apple. And Steve Jobs has a very iconic personal brand. He dresses the same way in every single interview. He's wearing a polo neck and jeans. Doesn't matter whether he's launching a product, going to awards, at an expo. This is how Steve Jobs looks and feels. And when you think about his look and feel, it aligns with his brand perfectly. Apple is supposed to be stylish, simple, and compact, easy to use. That's what Apple's brand's about. No fuss, no unnecessary buttons, style, ease of use, simplicity. That's what the Apple brand stands for. And that is Steve Jobs in a personality. He lives his brand every day. Can you click the next one? Wait. After this, please wait a moment.
Showing up here, it's taking long.
Okay, anybody know who this is? Nobody know who this is.
Theo.
Theo.
I don't know who it is,
Boy.
but judging from his shirt, maybe it's Makosa brand guy.
Theo Beloy. He started
Theo.
Batu Shoes. Batu Shoes. Theo, interestingly enough, has the exact same brand message and style as Steve Jobs. And yet we don't often know it is his home, born and bred Theo Beloy, a South African business magnate. And they both do exactly the same thing from a personal brand. But why do we know Steve Jobs more? Yes? Because
The
his brand
international
is literally out there. Pardon?
Steve Jobs is an international brand, you know.
Interestingly enough, so is Batu. Batu just launched their first international store. But you know why? Because we have been conditioned to know Apple. And by extension, know Steve Jobs. There's advertising all the time. There's competitiveness in the market all the time. It has been a brand strategy to develop iPhone, Apples, and Steve Jobs. Now, if that's what they do, you need to do the same thing, because in the job market, you need to be Steve Jobs, not the dude that developed Nokia 55 years ago that nobody even remembers the dude's name. Okay? So if you're thinking about what your brand needs to be like, you need to be Steve Jobs in this environment. Okay. And now's the time to do it. Is anybody here in the third year already? No. Okay, that's good news. You in your third year. If I had to ask you on a scale of 1 to 5 to rate your personal brand, so relative to I'm Steve Jobs in my space, 1 being my brand is poor and 5 being I'm like standing out there, where do you think you are now? Beg your pardon? Okay. So you think about it. So we have 2 business management students here, management sciences students. We've got one over there. In a real life environment, you 3 are competition. you're probably going for much of the same jobs. You're standing in a market where a recruiter like me is looking for you, and I have to decide which one of you three is the very best option to send to my client. So your brand needs to stand out so that I'm going to look at you differently than I look at other candidates. Does that make sense? So in order to do that, you've got to start understanding, you on for me, please, Rena. You've got to start understanding what makes up a brand, right? How do we do this? And if you think about it, you're one person. You're not a professional from 8 to 5, and then from 5 onwards, you're a completely different human being. You're one individual, and your brand is everything about you. What I see online, what I see offline, what I see on campus, what I see you wearing now is your personal brand. Whatever it is that what I can find about you defines your personal brand. When you go into a workplace, as an example, you don't close the door on yourself as a person. You don't have no interests and no life. You do. You carry that forward into your space. So in the workspace, you've literally got to have, or online, a brand that speaks wholly to me, right? So now the screen is not going. Okay, so first of all, you've got to know where is your audience. Who here does not have a LinkedIn profile? Okay. Do you have Instagram? Do you have Pinterest? No. Do you have Facebook? Yes. Do any of you have TikToks profiles? TikToks. Okay, so you've got TikTok, but no LinkedIn. All right. But at the back, what are you wanting to work? What is the job you're hoping to get? A sales job. Okay, cool. Ideally selling what? Sorry, say that louder. You want to sell your skills as a job. Okay, what skill would you like to sell of yours? Okay. In the finance industry. Okay. So finance people, when they are looking for finance people, I 100% guarantee you they are not looking on TikTok for you. 100%. I put my head on a block on that. They are going to look for you on LinkedIn. So the fact that you don't have a LinkedIn profile now means that your personal brand is yay big in a pool this big. Does that make sense? Okay. If you do have a LinkedIn profile, do you think you've got more than 500 connections? No. Okay. If you've got connections, how many of them are your friends? Lots. None of your friends. Okay, who are they?
People that I met with.
So your friends.
No, it just makes sense.
Okay, are they going to give you a job? Okay, right. So when I go and look at your LinkedIn profile and I have a look at your circle, those are your brand. Okay, so you can't, like I said, you can't be two people, right? So you've got to have personal interests. But remember that anything that's online forms part of that personal brand, right? So if I find you on LinkedIn, I'm also going to look for you on TikTok or on Facebook or on Vimeo or on Medium or wherever you need to be. And what I see there determines or builds my impression of you. Now, I'm not saying don't have a personal life, right? Or don't love dogs or don't do baking or look at rental properties or whatever the case may be. But does it build an impression of you that would lead me to believe that you're an IT professional or that you are a sales expert or that you are a business analyst? So when I go look at, let's say, I don't know, let's say TikTok, right? And you posted a video of somebody gaming. and you're in IT, it kind of makes sense. A lot of IT people game. I would expect to see that on some form of social. But if I don't find you on LinkedIn, what you give me in your personal interest is the only thing I've got to work with. But I'm not employing you because you love cats. I'm employing you because you want to be an IT professional. So you need to consider your entire brand and what I find online that will make me sit up and listen to you and compare you to those 3 bottles of Coke in those 3 blank bottles. Does that make sense? So does anybody kind of look at their social media now and go, okay, maybe my Instagram might be slightly dodgy or it might only give one view of me? Anybody not sure what is okay and not okay on the personal side? Anybody online? Not 100% sure? Yeah. Will you click the screen, please? It's on. It takes forever. Okay. But LinkedIn is one of the most professional spaces, so you want to definitely be there. Why is it important? If you look at the youth unemployment rates now, it's well over 36%.
It's a professional platform, very professional, and it's got a professional network as well.
Absolutely, you do. It's absolutely critical. In fact, you should have a birth certificate and a LinkedIn profile same day. That's pretty much how important it is these days in South Africa. Okay, so, oh no, my pen's gone again.
No, sorry, I'm trying.
Okay, all right. So if we were to look at why your brand's important, remember everybody in this room is a competitor for one internship, pretty much. So you are competing, and I did a test yesterday. I did HR graduate. There were 181,000 people with the job title HR graduate on LinkedIn. I went and looked for number of jobs for HR graduate on LinkedIn. Like, granted, I could have gone, if I'd done a bigger search, we would have had different numbers. But there were approximately 127 jobs. Look at the numbers. It's like more than 5,000 applicants per position available. So your need to stand out is greater than ever before. Okay. So why does it matter? You build credibility, right? So you look like the kind of person that I'm looking to employ, both from a culture fit and a technical expertise. You want to attract opportunities. You want to be visible so that I see you before I see other people. You want to network with the right people. So people in high school are not going to get you jobs unless their mother's in HR and they can get you jobs. So who you network with becomes uber important, like so important. It's actually critical that you start building a network now. And then you want to look at advancing your career. That's the why it matters, right? Because trust me, recruiters are looking at you every single day, all the time. And what we see determines whether you sometimes get an interview or not get an interview. Okay, we can move on. Thank you. Okay, so if we're looking at the psychology of marketing, there's a good couple of things that matter. And this isn't true of your personal brand. Those people that love Coke, how many of you gone to look for your name on the bottle? All of us, right? Pretty much. When we go into the shop, we're kind of looking for our name on those bottles, right? And why is that? Because Coca-Cola built a personal, emotional connection with us. They've personalized it. It's our connection to Coke. We get excited when we see our name and walking around with our name on a Coke bottle. It's so cool. Powerful emotional personalization. So that's one of the key philosophies of good marketing. So from your brand perspective, you need to bear one of those in mind, right? Social proof. Who's ever bought something online? Take a lot. How often do you go and look at the reviews? Most of the time. And why? Because we want as human beings to have a certain assurity that what we're paying for is what it promises to be, 100%. So you need social proof too. So when I'm looking to employ you, I can get a sense of what I'm getting in you. So social proof is incredibly important for your personal brands. You want authority and credibility. right? So you want to know that that brand does what it says it does. And how do we know that? 100 other things come into play. But if you think about Apple, it delivers. So when you go and buy the brand, does it do what it says? Yes. Do they have 55 buttons on the phone? No. It says what it does. Simplicity, basics, ease of use. That's what it does. It's what it promises. So think about consistency and commitment, right? So how often have you needed Adobe because the varsity sent you a document and it's in PDF. Now you need that thing. But you click on the free trial, right? You don't want to pay for it yet. You just need it for that. So you click the free trial. That's what your brand needs to do online. You need to have that free trial button. So I know you're a human being, you're not getting a free trial, right? But what you're doing is saying, here's a snapshot of me. This is what you're likely to get. This is how you're going to get it. Try me out. That's building consistency and commitment. Because what happens, your free trial comes to an end. You've tested the product out. You love the app. Now you must pay for the thing, right? So that's what consistency means. Liking and affinity. Adidas, Nike, famous sports stars. Michael Jordan endorses the brand. You love him. You buy the shoes, right? So again, on LinkedIn, as an example, if you are connected to industry leaders, to top voices in your industry, to people that are well respected in their space, it's an affinity with like having Nike attached to a sports star, right? And then repetition. Coke did not advertise once. They advertise all the time, everywhere, consistent messaging. Coke is about sharing. Coke is about happiness. Coke is about engagement. Coke is about people, right? So if you think about these 6 things, these are the things that your brand needs to have. Maybe not all of them all of the time, but consistency, repetition, and social proof are the things that you need to start considering buying into. Okay, so how do we do this? Anybody have any ideas? Can we one from me now, thanks? Anybody have any ideas? Okay, so let's do this. If we consider your personal brand as a digital handshake, how you introduce yourself to me, if I have never met you, if I'm not standing in front of you going, hi, my name is Gita, what do you do, right? So you need to know who you are and who you are not. So what do you want to be seen in the market as? So if you want to be seen in sales, or do you have the ability to convince people? Can you show negotiation skills? Can you show the ability to conceptualize something for somebody else? Very similar to marketing, right? If you are in IT, can you prove to me that you understand IT concepts? Can you show me that you can relate IT concepts to business concepts? Because that's what it's all about. So who are you not, right? You don't want to be seen as, let's say, somebody that is a comedian, right? Nothing sounds wrong about having a personality, but let's say you definitely don't want to be a comedian. You want to be seen as a serious accountant. Your person, who you are not, needs to define who you are. So you've got to know what you want to show. You want to be a property magnate, right? You want to be at the top of your game. So what you need to do is you need to show an understanding, as an example, of you want to be seen as business minded, as community orientated. You might want to be seen as fair and equitable. What I would expect to see on your profile are property trends. I might want to see things like affordable housing. I might want to see design concepts. I might want to see urbanization and modernization of derelict areas. That's what I'd expect to see on your profile if that's the kind of space you want to be in. Does that make sense? You wouldn't want to be seen, for argument's sake, as a loan shark. Stupid example, but you wanted to start defining yourself not as somebody who does, as a serious business person in a property space. Make sense? Okay. You need to separate who you are from what you want to do, right? So your brand tone different. Your outlook's different. How you show up is different. So you want to be an accountant. That does not automatically mean that you are boring. You can have an accountant being an interesting individual with interests and factors. You can have an accountant that has a light tone. So you need to decide, separate what you do from who you are. And then you want to think about, how do I show up and where do I show up? So as an example, if you are wanting to be in sales, I would expect you not to be the quietest person in the room, right? You want to be that person that's comfortable walking up, comfortable talking, comfortable presenting, comfortable in any given space. So that's how you show up. So from now, you need to start honing what you show up as, both online and offline. Does that make sense? Anybody have any questions on that at all? How you show up? Let me give you an example. Today is the prime example of showing up, right? So you know I'm a recruiter. One day, every single one of you is going to be looking for a job theoretically. Who do you think I'm going to remember? The ones that showed up, correct. Those are the people that I'm going to remember. The ones that didn't participate, the ones that didn't ask questions, the ones that showed no interest. Those are the people who fade into the 3 bottles in the beginning. That I'm not going to, like, neither here nor there in my world. Okay. The people, so think about it when you're online. You need to be engaging with the people who are going to get you jobs in the future. Those people that are meaningful for the growth and development of your careers. Does that make sense? So who you connect with, both online and offline, becomes important. So that's clarity, knowing who you are and what you want to do. We can move on, please. Actually, need to give you a 10-minute head warning for this. Okay.
No, it's quicker.
Oh, now it's quicker. Lovely. Now you need to decide who needs to see me and where, right? So it's a strategic selection of sites. So you might not need to be on YouTube or on TikTok, but you might if you're in a design space or a creative space. So let's say you're going to be a marketing brand specialist. You might be producing video content for a brand, which means you need to have a visibility on those sites where I would go and see portfolio of your work, right? If you are in IT, as an example, I would want to know that you're on LinkedIn, but I might also go and find you on Stack Overflow and GitHub, because I want to see evidence of your portfolio of work, the code you've written, the process mapping you may have done, the whatever it is that you have done. So where are you going to be? Where's the audience? So recruiters are going to be on LinkedIn. We're going to be on job profiles, portals. We're going to recruiters look at TikTok, Vimeo, all of these platforms, Reddit, Behance, Stack. We resource from all kinds of places all the time. So we don't only find you in one place. So again, when I go onto LinkedIn and I see an IT student, I immediately go and look for them on Git. If I can't find you there, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll look at the next one. Maybe I can see evidence of clean code, some good code over there. So really think hard about, where do you need to be? Where do you need to show up? Where should your visibility be? If you are a graphic designer, you should be on Behance, because I'm going to go look for your portfolio of work there. In fact, there should be a link on your LinkedIn to the other net platforms that you use to showcase evidence of skill, right? What groups do I need to belong to? So alumni is really important, and community is important. So when you're on LinkedIn, as an example, what groups do you belong to that give you direct access to the kinds of people that are going to develop your career? So for those of you that are on LinkedIn, how many of you belong to groups in your space? Any groups in your space? There's a world of groups on LinkedIn that are so helpful. Recruiters, hiring managers, people that can give you access to information for projects, for work opportunities, for internships, for your work-based learning at the end of your qualification. Now's the time to build that community, right now. And then you also need to look at the profile of your audience, right? So if you're going into accounting and you know they're very analytical, very structured people, and you've got every second day you posting a joke, you're probably not speaking to your audience. So therefore, you need to think more carefully about what your profile online should look like relative to your audience. Yeah. Anybody else want to give me an example of the kinds of job they're going to look for? Maybe make it more relevant. No, no one to tell me. The secret. Whisper to her, she'll whisper to. HR, I heard you. Mom, yes, I heard you. So you want to be in HR?
Yes, and HRs.
Answering an evaluation, M&E.
M&E, okay, very cool. That's also a good one. I'll get back to you on now. HR specifically. So let's think about who would be your audience? HR specific recruiters. You want to be connected to heads of HR in companies. You want to be connected to HR BPs. You might be connected to IR specialists, organization OD specialists. So it would be your audience because those are the people that would ultimately be responsible for hiring an HR specialist.
CA.
CA, okay, we'll get to CA now. So if you were an HR specialist, what would I expect to see on your profile, right? So what would I be looking for? I would expect to see you on LinkedIn for sure. I might expect to see you on Quora where people ask related questions. I would like to see now, you know that there's changes to the BE Acts and the Employment Equity Acts. I would expect you to be commenting on that now on your profile. The impact of that, your thoughts about it, how you see that going to be applicable, what you think that might do for the budget. Because what does that show? That you have an application of learning, that you understand your space. So from an HR perspective, and you don't have to have big opinions, I'm not saying that, but you should be posting articles or gazettes or thoughts and feelings about that in your space. Does that make sense? Because then I'm starting to see that you're genuinely keen in HR. Okay, if you want to be a chartered accountant, you definitely want to be on LinkedIn. You probably want to be on Twitter. You probably want to be on finance director or a CA or finance management groups on LinkedIn. The kinds of posts you'll be putting out. Budget speech, the implications of the budget speech, the implications of national minimum wage to companies' bottom lines. You might want to be looking at the impact of our grey status on the international markets. Anything to do with the finance space that shows that you understand your environment. That's what you want to do because these people, that's what they're looking at. So you need to be commenting and producing content that they want to associate you with. Does that make sense? Anybody not getting it?
Educational specialist.
An educational specialist. Okay, what is that?
Somebody online.
Okay, somebody can do even the educational specialist. Maybe tell me what that means.
And then just to jump forward, how do you brand yourself when you have a non-professional degree, like a Bachelor of Science degree?
Okay, so the person that asked about the Bachelor of Science degree, a non-professional degree, can you maybe tell me what kind of job you're hoping to apply for with that degree? Did somebody say anybody know what an educational specialist is?
An educational specialist could be someone who advises even universities, the curriculum, what the curriculum needs to look like or be like in response to the trends, artificial intelligence, etc. It can be around content itself, it can be delivery, so it can be a broad.
All right. So if you were to brand yourself as an educational specialist, then you would want to be looking at latest trends in education. You would be wanting to look at obsolete qualifications. You'd be wanting to look at the application of AI. You would want to be talking about learning hybrid techniques. You would want to be talking about the difference in adult education and different workspaces. So that's the kind of stuff you wanted to do. You would want to do. The Bachelor of Science one, I don't know right now, so we'll have to get back to that one. I'll park that one. Okay, now you need to know what does your audience want to know about you. And these are the things we've just been talking about, right? It's your elevator pitch. So if I go and look at you as a snapshot, what does that message tell me? What is it saying to me? Am I seeing an educational specialist? Am I seeing an HR specialist? Am I visually being able to get to grips of what it is that you particularly are and what you would bring to my organization? Because that's what I'm looking for, right? I'm looking for social proof. What makes you stand out from the other HR specialist that's sitting next to you, right? Now you want to look for the social proof. So what evidence supports that? That could be your posts, what you post about, documents you share, knowledge that you have. It could show where you are interested in, right? So if you are in the right groups, if you follow the right newsletters, if you follow the right blogs, that all says something about you as social proof, the evidence that supports this. Now, you could do milestones, right? So let's say you finished it, you got your transcripts for the last semester, you got a distinction in industrial relations. That could be a post all on its own. It says that I love this, I got a distinction, I'm keen about this because I achieved X, Y, and Z. It matters to me because those are social proofs. You're giving me an achievement that is directly related to the image you want me to see of you. Does that make sense? Right? What else supports this? Let's say you want to be in sales, right? You're probably that kid that already sold chappies to his buddies at school. So they didn't have to wait in the line at the tuck shop. Yeah? Right. Do that. Talk about that story. Steve Jobs and Theo Beloy's brands are built around storytelling, about connection, about how their culture and their background led to their success today. Tell that chappy story. Now, again, people that are often in sales probably have a good side hustle. Most people, a lot of people do. Do you have a good side hustle? What is it? A what?
Student marketing.
A student marketeer. What does that do?
Basically, push the Red Bull brand. When it comes to college and students, it comes to on same stage that you can see it. I make sure that Red Bull is the most common brand.
So it's for heart attacks. Okay. If I went to your LinkedIn profile or if I looked it up online, would I know that? No. So are you telling me you're a good salesperson? You say yes. Okay, but I'm a recruiter. I'm not here on campus seeing you today. So the people that need to see you need to know that about you because that could define whether I interview you or not interview you. Yeah? Can you start thinking about stories you could put online? Okay. Very good. And I'm sure you've got a lot of stories. You probably have a lot of content that you don't even know you've got. Photos, successes. Somebody else, you could video somebody buying your Red Bull. Hopefully not outside the hospital, straight after the kids.
Online social.
No, trust me, I get you. I have complete anxiety about somebody taking a photo and they don't, I said this earlier to lots of people, they don't have Photoshop, they're not going to Photoshop me thin. I'm like freaking out, right? Freaking out. Like this is not even funny, right? But you know what? You want to be sales, you've got to put yourself out there. It's one step at a time. Do a piece of content without photo. You don't even have to have a photo of you. But remember LinkedIn at the moment, LinkedIn trends engagement higher with posts with photos or pictures than they do without. So just think about it, right? Video content sometimes ranks higher, but not at the moment.
I think it's supposed to be like more present on maybe like Instagram and TikTok because that's where most target market is. 100%.
But when he can put links He can write a post. He can link it to his TikTok. I can choose to go and see it there. But yes, you're 100% right. The influencers and the brand marketers, they would be on.
Would be on Instagram.
Correct.
And
Yes.
maybe a bit of Facebook, but there's like so many old people there. So Instagram and TikTok.
Oh, wow.
That's right. So no, like talking about
No, she's
for
right.
anything. It's not adults. There's like a certain age. You can't be 50 and drinking energy drinks like.
You're right, because I'd have a heart attack. Yeah.
So he's talking about.
No, I can. No, you're 100% right. That is about knowing your audience. But remember, the hiring managers, you need to understand where their demographic is. So first, that first port of call might be a professional site like LinkedIn, but they're absolutely looking for you other places. They want to see you. If you say what you do, and you should be on there, but I don't find you there, then you're not creating that social proof. So I should see in those videos and that engagement and collaboration there. You're 100% right. And when I don't, that's a red flag. So that's why I went before. Be mindful of where you need to be seen. Be sure you have a good presence there. But yes. Okay. Right. You need to define your visual appearance. You need to have a brand. Coca-Cola is not purple today and red tomorrow. They have a very defined brand identity. It's how I start to recognize you. Like I don't do the LinkedIn talk and my slides are pink. It's my brand colors all the time. It's the same font all the time. It's the same delivery mechanism all the time. You need to be recognizable by your brand, right? So you can spot a Nike pair of sneakers from a mile away. Generally, Renal can find Under Armour in her sleep. Why? Because we've defined our brand identity, right? We're not flipping from one thing to another. Brands rebrand, that's great. New logos, great, but that's a strategy. But you need to know what it is. If I go onto LinkedIn and I see consistently the same look and feel, so if you choose to use Canva for, say, carousel or your own personal image, do I see that consistency of brand? That's what you want to be looking for. You can move on.
There was two the non-professional degree. She was talking about a lab technician position, and then somebody asked about a food manufacturing process trainer.
Okay, so lab technicians, that could be in a number of spaces. Medical could be all sorts. But again, it depends on what your space is, right? So if you're in a laboratory medical environment, you want to start talking about the specific ISO elements that are there. You want to start talking about process engineering. You want to start talking about proper analytical skills, reporting skills. If you're going food manufacturing, there are a gazillion things, automation in that space, machine learning in that space, reskilling in that space. There is all sorts of things about technology or standards internationally. There's a lot of stuff. Go and find people in your space that are thought leaders. See what they post. Go look for newsletters. See what's topical. Use that data to define your own thoughts. Okay. Now, I remember I said earlier that you don't need to be serious all the time, right? We know that Coca-Cola and Pepsi have a long-standing kind of rivalry in the market. But look how cleverly they play against it, right? Coke, everybody wants to be a hero, put a slap my Coke logo on Pepsi tin. Do you remember that advert where the little kid goes and takes out 2 Cokes at the vending machine, puts them down, stands on them so he can reach the Pepsi button? Coke then responded with a different ad. So you can be smart, you can be funny, you can show your personality, provided that it says the right things about you, right? That you're not just randomly throwing stuff out there that make no sense in terms of your brand. Same as Nando's. Nando's one of my all-time favorite brands. They are always quick. Nando's. What did I say? Did I say KFC? Oh, I thought maybe I said the wrong thing. Nando's are brilliant. They're always topical. They talked about that like the day after it came out. You can't be quicker than Nando's. But they're always on point. They're always talking about chicken, but using topical things. and they're funny about it, right? And nobody taking offense. Everybody's laughing, maybe not Eskom, but everybody else is laughing. But you've created an affinity with that brand by what it is that they've put out there, right? Do you see how you can use humor as part of your brand without being otherwise about it, without it being silly, posting stupid jokes? Yeah? Any questions on this? We'll move one slide down. Any questions at all so far on what it is? Yes.
Like with regards to
Yes and no. You probably find that Pepsi and Coke had some level of agreement to use each other's IP, because let's be honest, Pepsi got free advertising there, right? 100% free advertising. If you were a Pepsi fan, you were seeing Pepsi before you saw the Cape of the Coke. So I'm sure they had some agreements in place, but theoretically, you're right. You should not be plagiarizing, and you should not be using any brand IP without permission. 100% correct. Okay, the next one is constancy, and that's not consistency, right? It's about creating a constant content plan that speaks to your brand. So what could I post about? How often should I be posting? What should I be liking or commenting on? And where would I meet people? Who here has attended an expo? I would imagine you would. Who here has attended a webinar for HR? No. Okay. You have. Cool. Okay. Who here has gone to a meetup on actual meetups.com for HR professionals or IT professionals or sales professionals? If you're not networking in those spaces now, you need to be networking in those spaces now. Because it's too late when you're at third year in November and you think, hey, I need to be employed in January. Too late. Far too late then. Okay, so now's the time to start thinking about this. Now, first year, now. Start building a map of companies you want to work for, people in your industry, places where you should be networking. Okay, now you can move on. Thank you. You also want to be consistent, just like Coca-Cola and all the like. Right. This is an advert. This is a LinkedIn post by a student. He has his cap and everything on, gown and everything. He's got an open to work banner. And this is his post comment: critical thinking and decisions making. Did you see this post? Okay. Tell me what you think about, would you have liked this post?
sure.
For sure. Would you have commented on it? Would you have written funny, or what would you have said? Okay, cool. Anybody else have comments, thoughts about this picture? Would you have liked this picture? No, you wouldn't have. Okay. Hands up who would have clicked like on this picture. One.
I would have also liked this picture.
Okay, 2, 3, a couple of you. Who would have disliked this? If there was a dislike button on this picture, who would have done that?
Why would we?
You think it's clever too, eh?
Yeah.
You're super smart.
Work smart, not hard.
Work smart, not hard. Okay, cool.
Depends which way it was posted.
Okay, it was posted on LinkedIn.
Then you dislike.
Yeah.
Does that make it different? Oh, so it's funny if it's not on LinkedIn, but it's not funny if it is on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, here's what I think. I'm a recruiter. I come across this student. I also look at every person that liked and commented on this. And there were some people that went, just like you did, super clever. I'm going to go home and teach my children this. I'm going to tell my wife, wait till I'm show my brother. Here's what I see. First of all, I see an individual who had no regard for rules and regulations. He parked in an illegal space, possibly in front of a fire hydrant, which could have saved people's lives. The second thing I see is that he compounded his decision by a complete lack of accountability. He didn't take ownership for parking there. He decided to steal the clamp, put it in his car, and drive away. So now I have somebody who doesn't follow rules, has no accountability and condones theft. And you want me to employ you because why? Yeah? So now everybody that thought this post was funny, I'm like, okay, cool. So you also think this is fun. Theft, lack of accountability, can't follow rules. Why would I want that kind of person in my business? The next time the printer goes missing is because you needed to print it home quick. Not cool, right? The next time there's a process and you skip a step because you want to work faster, not harder, I'm like, nobody. That's when somebody's arm gets chopped off on the manufacturing line. So you branded yourself by liking this post on LinkedIn. You affiliated yourself with that perception, whether you thought you did or not. So what I'm really saying is, when you think about what it is that you comment on, or what that you like, or what you share, be very mindful. You could have giggled about this and moved on. Be very mindful of the impression you leave by the association you create. Yes.
Sense of like how you analyze this course. It's a different way how I would analyze the profession. Whereas if it's at probably about the hours on machine something, then I see different signs.
But then again, you just said to me now, oh, it was on LinkedIn, right? So on LinkedIn, maybe you shouldn't be finding this funny, but maybe on a post on a weekend somewhere else you might have, right? But let's imagine this, right? Let's take this in a different scenario. Let's say you thought this was clever. What if this guy had said, somebody had a heart attack because he made me drink too many Red Bulls? No, I'm kidding. So, but let's just say somebody was having a heart attack. It was an emergency for me to get to a hospital. So I did what I needed to do in that moment using critical thinking skills. But I came back and I paid my fine and I gave the clamp back. Completely different context. So when I talk about storytelling and positioning yourself, then it was actually very smart. You made a critical decision for a specific reason, but you still managed to back it up with doing the right thing. Completely different picture. But the fact that there was no context and no follow-up gives me a very different impression. And you know what? The likelihood is he probably didn't mean it the way I took it. But you've got to assume the worst. You've got to assume what is the thing that I might take from this that you don't want me to take from this. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. Okay. Okay, can we move on? Right. This is a BA Humanities graduate, right? This is her post. Also, open to work, student picture. She puts, what causes someone to constantly view your profile but does not send a connection request or message, just views every now and again? Not a bad question, all in all, actually. So I thought on the face of it, hey, you know what? That's actually quite a good question for her to ask. Then I went to look at her profile. Oh, my soul. So she had no banner picture. She had no about me section. She had very little content. She had no details, no skills, hardly anything filled in on her LinkedIn. So when she's got nothing for me to look at, and she's saying, what causes somebody to look and not connect with you? Well, my question is, what did you give me to want to connect you with? You didn't show me anything worthy of connection. So if you're going to post something like this, make very sure that you've at least done the basic work that LinkedIn guides you through, or that a platform guides you through. So Instagram prompts you to put a bio, right? And it prompts you to join a couple of interests. At least do the basics. Because if you're asking this and you've made no effort whatsoever, when LinkedIn itself guides you through the process, I can't even be bothered to reply to this person, let alone connect with them. Do you see what I mean? But if she had got a good profile, right, and she'd asked this question, I very likely would have gone and said, you could post a little bit more, you could share content, you could like, you could do this, you could do that. I suggest this. But she made no effort, so why should I? Do you see what I mean? Or would anybody have not taken that a different way at all? You would have seen it differently. No. Okay. Again, different perspective, different context. Think about it before you just throw something out there, because this brands her. I'm too lazy to do it myself, but I want people to like and connect with me. But why would I? Why would anybody actually? Okay. Right. Here's a different one. Okay. No banner. Open to work. Her name, she put customer care in the middle, and I'm sure that wasn't her given name on her ID. Almost 100% sure. And then she wrote an entire blurb of all sorts of things, right? She's a BA Humanities graduate, BCom Human Resources, but she's using geographical information and SAGE and all sorts of things and customer care. Do we talk about who are you and what do you want to be? What is that? Where would I go first? How do I pick what's your primary personality, your primary brand, your primary objective there? It's all over the place. So now when I'm like, I don't know now, do you want to be in HR? Do you want to be, it's confusion. There's lack of clarity. So if I've got 2 or 3 options, I'm going to pick the one who has clarity, that I know for sure I'm going to employ you as an HR graduate and you're going to stay here. You don't want to go and play with in a customer call center or some of the geographical stuff. Okay. Again, she probably thought she was spreading her options and giving herself a bit more stuff, but in reality, she's creating confusion and mixing and diluting her brand. Make sense? Or does anybody want to have any questions on those two? Please.
Yes, because let's say that this person is actually like doing all of like more this and even more on the side, and she herself doesn't know what she actually wants to portray. She's one minute she wants to portray herself as like a human resources management student, and then the next she wants to be exposed to those experts in let's say software. How does a person exactly create a profile for one thing if they don't know?
Let me flip that question to you. So you're in HR, right? You're on my side of the desk now. You have to hire a graduate for your business. Okay. You've got 2,500 choices, because that's kind of the average of number of roles you're going to get. You come across this one. You want to hire an HR graduate. Somebody's going to stay at your business, be focused on HR. Are you likely to choose her ahead of HR graduates who are very clear on their objective? Exactly. So her not knowing she hasn't gone back to that first step in defining who she wants to be and who she does not want to be. So she's creating confusion, and she's making me unsure about, will I take this person on, invest a year in training and onboarding fees, and then she goes, actually, I want to go and work in some geospatial space. No, I'm more likely to take somebody who's 100% sure of where they want to be. My advice to this person would be, create a post or 2 about an interest in, and say, I would like to work in HR and perhaps a geospatial company where I might be exposed to a couple of things and can make a choice thereon, but at least have some sort of clarity. Define yourself in a primary objective first. Shotgun approach, 100%. Yeah. It's just too all over the place. If she'd had 2, maybe that would have been better. But we've got geospatial, HR, payroll, customer service. That's 4 options. It's just too many.
So would you recommend that this one person would instead create multiple other profiles
Oh no, that's like having multiple personalities. Which one do you focus on? I mean, most of you guys haven't even got one. Now you want to manage four. No. What you would be better off doing is focusing in her primaries where she's fairly sure, and then maybe creating a couple of posts and the odd bit of thing that would catch the outlier ones a little bit more. So let's say you've got a Reddit account, right? Go and follow a couple of subreddits that might be in one or two of the subsectors that you're in. So that forms part of your brand, but it's maybe more a little bit more strategic. Yeah? Yes. Okay.
So like,
I would say yes, because sales and marketing are very, very closely aligned, right? You use your marketing skills to make a sale. And interestingly enough, you asked, should I include marketing, but you didn't ask me, should I include accounting? And can I tell you why I think you should? Because there's a financial aspect to a sale. You are trying to convince often two people in a business, the person that needs it. So it could be the IT manager, but you also need to convince the finance manager that it's financially viable and makes business sense for the business to take on a new software, for an example. So your accounting background makes a huge amount of sense in a sale because you understand complex sales structures. You probably know which way up to hold a financial calculator. And you therefore, it allows you to have very different conversations in a business to make a sale. So don't discount that component of it, but marketing and sales like this. So tap into both all the time. Yeah.
A question online. What if a person is experienced in one field and educated in another field? They could not get work experience in the field they were educated in, and now they are applying for roles in both fields. How would they market themselves correctly?
Okay, so you've got to be able to do a lot of analysis, right? And you've got to see what are the skills required of the one that I want to be in, so that I was educated in, and what are the skills that I have now? Which skills are transferable? So which skills could I tap into that would make sense in that space? How would I upskill, and could I move into organizations where there is an easier transition from one role to the other? It isn't an easy task. It sometimes takes a little bit of time, but there are opportunities where you can do that. You can have hybrid roles. You can go internal to an organization to find opportunities for stretch projects. There are certain organizations that permit that. You could go and find mentors in the space you want to be in and start building up networks in that space to transition over much quicker. But it's a long process, requires lots of analysis, understanding transferable skills, understanding gaps, and making moves towards that. We can move on now. Thank you, Anna. It's a please wait. Okay, so here's some content ideas for yourself. Milestones, won awards, distinctions, specific projects. You could look at VAC work, volunteer work. You could look at side hustles. All of those could be stories, success stories. You could look at your knowledge and skills. So you could look at things that you're particularly strong in and build a content plan around those things. You could look at your specific industry knowledge. You could look at property markets. You could look at financial trends. You could look at all sorts of things that show application of knowledge and skills. You can show your own thought process. So find a news article, share it, and talk about how you think it's applicable to your world or to the kinds of companies that you would like to apply to. So let's go, the EE Act is looking at and putting in quotas now, right? How is that going to impact the hospitality environment where a lot of the workers in hospitality are foreign nationals? From an HR perspective, that would make sense. From a business perspective, that article would make sense. From a property sector, that article might make sense. Right. So you could think about showing how you think about your world those are articles and content that brand you. You want to look about shared content, and then you want to give back or teaching posts, right? So everybody thinks you've got nothing to share and nothing to teach. I guarantee you that you do. So you're in second year now. There's a first year student wishing they knew what you knew, right? There is a person who is looking to study what you want to, you can give back. So if you go and look at my personal profile, you'll see that I share jobs. You will see that I give educational posts. So I talk extensively about how to engage in the market, how to present your CV, how to interview, how to all sorts of things, right? So think about the way that you teach and give back, because that also brands you, especially if you're using your knowledge and skills to do it. It also shows the kind of social word is not the right word. It also shows a little bit about your mentality and your culture and your values, especially if you volunteer at organizations or you mentor students on campus, or you give back to children's homes or women, gender-based violence victims, or whatever the case is. Might be especially important if you're looking to employ certain organizations. Go and see what their CSI initiatives are. Go and see how those align to what you do, because again, when I'm looking for you online, I go, oh, look at that. She's so keen on helping early childhood development initiatives, and you've gone and volunteered there. I'm like, thumbs up already. Right? So those are all of the content ideas. Does anybody have any others they can think of? Other content ideas that you might have? No? Anybody online? No? We can move slide now because it might take. It might be slow. Okay. Lastly, you want to check out your competitors, right? Much like Coke and Pepsi check each other out all the time. Pedro's and Nando's are going to be on that same path shortly, right? Check out who your competition is. So regularly go and look at graduates in your space. What do they look like? Are you better or worse than them? Is your brand stronger or not as strong as them? Go and look at top voices in your industry. How far away from them are you? Go and have a look at people one job ahead of where you are. What do their brands look like, so that you can see what your goals are in terms of your brand? You want to do a self-audit. Right? Go and do a simple Google check on yourself. Where do you show up? On page 1 of Google, will I find you? Am I going to find you in relevant places? What am I going to see? Has your mother on Facebook posted that picture of you blind, drunk, passed out on the front lawn because she thought that was funny? Hopefully not. But go and do a self-audit. Is there something there you don't want me to see? Can you make it private? Can you remove it? Remember, nothing's private. So if you make it friends only, your friend takes a screenshot and posts it. It's gone. It's there forever. And I know, and I'm going to maybe touch a touchy subject now. Think about causes that are important to you, right? So there's a strike going on at the other campus. Think about that's a couple of years ago, and the fees must fall. Students were burning buildings. So do you want a picture of yourself throwing a bottle of petrol lit at a building? No. Is the cause important? Absolutely. Do those students have a right to be angry? Hell yes. Do you need to be seen throwing a bottle on your post? No. Again, it's like, you've chosen means. So when you're unhappy, again, about the muffins in the canteen, are you going to burn the kitchen down? Do I need to see that? No. So think about, when I find something about you online, is it something you want me to see? Does it form part of your brand that you want me to associate with you? So if your friends posted something that you commented on, remember that like? So you saw that photo, you go, fees must fall, NSFAS must catch up, and they must do what they need to do. Sure. But be mindful of how it appears. Choose your words wisely. Choose the cause important, do it differently. Stand up for what you believe in, but make wise choices, because it ain't going away. Nothing that you put on social media ever disappears. Ever disappears. 100%. Your digital footprint, it stays with you. So like if you, mine, if you go look on my Facebook, you'll see that I am an absolute pug fanatic. Pugs, love my pug to death. He's the boss of me, and I make no objection to it. And I think I'm a bred master. I don't know if anybody else agrees, but that's what I think of myself. But that's okay, right? Because I care about animals. I love my expression. I've recently decided that woodworking is a thing, much to my husband's horror. Me and power tools and cutting wood. But it's like the thing I create is probably awful. Do I care? No. Does it show that I have diverse interests? Yes. But go to my LinkedIn. You should see a professional recruiter who gives back to their communities, who's passionate about youth empowerment. And I hope that my brand shows that. Whether I like pugs or not is secondary to that, right? But it is part of me. And so if somebody says, could you come and work for me? I'm going to go, can I bring my pug? If they say no, I go, sorry, I can't come then. That's okay, right? But it's part of my brand. It's an absolute thing of mine. So be sure that's what you want to be known for, and then you're good, right? Go and have a look at what your last 3 to 5 posts on any platform are. And if you stood back and you were me, what do those 3 to 5 posts say? Go and have a look at the last 3 to 5 things you liked and commented on. What do they say about you? If you like the car, dude, maybe go unlike it quick, fast. But think carefully. What will I see? What image do I have of you? What your last 3 to 5 posts are? That image of you on any, whether it be TikTok, Instagram, X, whatever it is that you're on, do that audit. And then lastly, really define 5 goals for yourself. Define what your brand is. Pick a deadline, because if you don't start now, a personal brand takes anywhere between, if you're very lucky, 6 months, and at best 2 to 3 years to build your brand. You want to have your brand up and running and providing social proof before you apply for jobs. So like literally right now, I've been on LinkedIn, I think 13 years. And I've only, in my opinion, it probably took me about 5 to 8 years to get where I really thought I should be. And only in the last year have I managed to break past that 150,000 follower kind of mark. I've been there 13 years. It takes lots of time. Right. And then I want you to remember your brand is not you online. It's how you show up today. It's how you show up in lectures. It's how you show up in career days. It is what you do when you're out and about. It is what you don't ever think that you can't get a job at a Pick and Pay. You can. I'm not talking about literally at the Pick and Pay, but the person behind you could be the hiring manager you interview with on the Monday morning. You never ever know. So show up exactly like you want me to know you, how you want your brand to be remembered, online and offline. It's every single day. So when I was standing around chatting outside, those people that were willing to engage with me and those poor people who gave me their phones because I asked for it. I mean, literally, I walked up to somebody and said, can I have your phone, please? And the guy just gave it to me, right? It's like these lovely ladies. They were so willing to share with me and laugh with me and take photos with me. It's how you show up all the time. I'm absolutely never forgetting them, even the quiet, shy one, because her friend made her that person, right? She dragged her along with her and made her fun. So think about your moments every moment. You're always on show every moment of every day, right? Make it work for you. And then it's your authentic you. No, at no point am I saying create this profile that is not you. Not some special image that is so far from the authentic you. You are going to show up at work one day. Not the image that you presented. You have to live up to that. It's so much easier to be authentic than it is to make this big persona of yourself that you can't maintain. Like if you see me online, I'm exactly like I am now. I've got plenty to say. I've never run out of stuff to talk about. I can talk my hind leg off a donkey any time of the day or night. And what you see now is exactly how I live online. So be that person. Questions? I think we are. Please move on. Anybody have questions? Comments? If you connect with me online, I will help you grow your network. I'll engage with you. I will show you stuff.
No, thank you. Can I have a question?
I'm social. Can you speak all people's English, please? I am predominantly on LinkedIn. My pug has an Instagram. Best pug _ right? Maybe not. I don't know what it is. If you scan that, it'll take you directly to my LinkedIn profile. Predominantly on LinkedIn. I genuinely, Jake has an Instagram profile. I do Facebook because I'm old, like you said. I don't know who told me that, but yeah, I do have Facebook. My company has an Instagram. I'm very bad on it because I hate videos of myself, so I'm really bad on it. But yeah, those are predominantly where you'll find me.
So would you let's say that you receive an email, are you responsive to like certain questions, Q&As?
Yes, it depends. If you send me a stupid email that you've made no effort, you've got no subject line, and it depends on what you send me, right? If I can see you've genuinely made an effort, I'm likely to respond. Understand though that some people, jokes aside, I get about 800 mails a day. So it does take me some time to respond, and sometimes I can be very selective about what I respond to. But on LinkedIn, if you go and check out my profile now, my last couple of posts, you'll see when somebody's made a comment, I always reply to that comment, even if it's just to say thank you. So I'm very responsive on LinkedIn, always. Gita Winter. So if you scan that, it's going to take you to my LinkedIn. Oh, it's Gita, so it's Gita Winter. Yeah, like the season, yes. So your actual certificate or the fact that you've achieved a qualification? Personally, I wouldn't, unless you remove your ID number, because you're just giving people too much data to clone or to steal your qualification and use it. So yeah, but it's not a bad thing, right? You're very proud of it. Just remove identifiers, not your name, because you can see your name anyway, but it's not a bad thing. But just to post the picture of it, not valuable. To talk about the journey and tell a story about why this is important to you and how you're going to add value, absolutely. Absolutely. Any other questions? Concepts? Things you don't think you want to post, or you want me to? Anybody brave enough to show me something that they've done?
Yeah, no, I want to ask a question, ma'am. In relation to Facebook and other social media, because now we post a lot of things. There's lots of things happening in the country and current affairs. So now I want to check, how does it relate to our careers? Because I hear you say everything we do, it's like we're looking for a job even when we are living our private life. So how does it relate? Please, how can I separate my social life, private life, and the professional career, life? That's where, because I see the very, very thin line between these two things now. When you say whatever I post will have a bearing in me getting a job. Thank you.
That is 100% true. You can actually not separate your personal from your professional life. There can be a barrier, but you can't separate it, right? And I know that almost doesn't make sense. But the fact is, whatever is out there about you forms part of your brand overall. So you need to make private what you really want private, bearing in mind that nothing's ever really 100% private. But you also need to filter. Not everything, you don't, there are those people who you can't do anything without checking in. So some old people on Facebook, like you'll see they checked in at the coffee shop, then they checked in at work, then they, you can filter what you put out there. So just because you live it doesn't mean it has to be there. But the truth is that if it is out there for me to find, it can be looked at. So you need to create a brand and a focus in the areas that you want it to be, understanding that your interests and your associations, although not genuinely applicable, are okay. So let me give you an example. Somebody once asked me in the last workshop, is it okay that I belong to the EFF? Absolutely. It's your constitutional right to affiliate with any organization. What's not okay is if it incites violence or destruction of property or any other illegal act. You might not want to have that out there. And that doesn't mean EFF equals violence. So unless you cultivate that story, right? But be selective about what you put there, understanding that you are a fully fledged brand no matter where I find you. Build the brand on your professional side more strategically, and then factor in the rest of it, knowing that I'm going to look at it. So make sure that it is brand worthy. So let me give you an example. Let's say somebody threw a Coca-Cola bottle because they decided it was flat and they were the hell in with it. Coca-Cola are not posting that, right? Neither do you. That's the answer.
No, thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Other questions? Nope. Okay, we're all good. I hope you all go and make LinkedIn at the very least. Have a banner, make it full, use it to its best effect. Start networking now. Start connecting with companies, following groups now, today. Try build up to a minimum of 500 connections strategically, and then you're good. Well done for being here, guys. You're the ones that are showing interest in your personal development. It's an exceptionally good sign. It's so lovely to see students invested in their own growth and development. So I am very proud of you, and I look forward to connecting. I can't connect with you, but I can be followed. I'm maxed out on my connections. But if you tag me or if you create some engagement, I will help you with it. I will go and comment on it. I will go and share it. I'll go and like it so that you get some engagement, because it's quite hard to start in the beginning. So use me or don't, up to you. Thank you, guys. Take care. Have a good trip home.
Hi guys, thank you so much for attending today. My name is Ronelle Lyson. I'm the Alumni Relations Coordinator at the Advancement Alumni Relations Unit. As always, it is a pleasure to host Gita, and we're so excited that this time we can host her in person for the first time here at PMB. Our team is very excited because this is our first trip that we've made to PMB. Yeah. Very excited to be here. And we're really hoping that we can engage more with you. We have very exciting programs coming up. We're launching new programs on the 5th of June this year. So we're very excited about it. We want your participation. And by you showing up here, it shows us that you are willing and wanting the development that we are going to be offering you. Gita, I don't know when I'm going to see you again. But we'd just like to hand over a small token of appreciation. For you guys, Gita does this free of charge. Yes. On a volunteer basis. We've been working with her for the past, from January this year, and we're going to be working with her further on going through to December. So she does this free of charge.
December.
Not leaving you in December. We collaborating on more partnerships and there's more that Gita says if I want anything I must ask and I've just been asking. So she's been more than willing to give it to me. Can I ask Mr. Ngubane and Nishi to come forward and hand over the little token of appreciation to Gita? Thank you. We do appreciate you. And thank you so much, guys, for showing up. And I know that there's been a lot of stuff happening on campus, and we appreciate you staying for the duration of the workshop. And we look forward to hosting more workshops here in PMB. And we hopefully the word spreads. Also, Nobushle and her team, thank you so much for everything, for all the logistics. We in Durban, so Nobushle has been here in Pietermaritzburg sorting everything out for us. So we're very, very grateful. Also to my team, thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you for the support.
Thank you very much.
I think Philip's gonna take a photograph. So.
Photoshop, remember?
Guys, we do have lunch provided for you. Yeah, we will. It's outside.
Thank you. Thank you so
Outside.
much.
Okay, cool. So we do have lunch provided for you. It's outside.
Just outside.
Thank you so much. Thank you to our attendees online. Everybody travel safe, and we will see you at our next workshop. Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't say thank you again. How are they going to do that? How is it set up?